Hello everyone, this is Jake from Jake's Scary Unusual. Welcome back, and in today's story, we're going to be going over a fishing ship story that goes horribly wrong. Yes, I did say that, and it's going to be a very interesting and fascinating story. I hope you all enjoy. If you do, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate all your support, and please share with your friends. It is a great help to the channel, and it's been growing greatly. And again, I appreciate everything you have all done. Alright, now let's get to the video. Joseph, Kyle, and James are all fishermen in Maine, and they also really have a passion for it. They didn't get into this business just to fish, they loved it because they love fishing. They have such a fascination with the whole thing, and they decided to make it a career for themselves. They all one day said to each other, now remember, they're all really good friends, and they all said to each other, hey, why don't we just give this a try? Let's actually try and do this. Let's set it up, get it going, let's buy a boat together. And they did. And what came of this is absolutely a wonderful story. You know, that's how it begins. They really started getting a passion for it. They loved it. They love fishing, getting the crabs and everything. And man, it's just such a wonderful thing for them to do. The experiences they had together and the different times and all this wonderful things they had fishing as a group, especially as a group of friends. How much better can you have it when you're with your friends at work? And especially since you're the only crew. It's like when you go to the workplace and you have all these different people you don't know, then you have to learn all their names, becomes friends with them, or just kind of be acquaintances with. But in this situation, Marvin and his friends, they all had a group of friends together, so they all were able to mingle no problem. This one day, this is about 10 years after they actually got their boat, you know, they all were setting out going, and they realized there's a storm coming in, and you don't really want to go out when there's a storm. It was called in over the NOAA system, weather system they have, and they were like, I feel something strange about this. Joseph was calling out to Marvin, like, hey, are you sure we should do this? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. I'm feeling good about today's catch. I'm feeling like we're going to get a lot. I just have a good feeling. And Joseph's like, oh, I've been your friend for a long time. We've been doing this for a while now, over 10 years. They're all in their 30s now. He's just like, you know what? I'm going to trust you only because I've known you so long. I'm going against my own gut instinct. And Joseph just was sighing. And, Marvin was like, yeah, it'll be fine. It's going to work out. You have nothing to worry about. This is going to be a great trip. We're going to haul good. We're not going to have to work for months after this. We're going to make so much money off this. This is going to be a great crab haul. So they go on their trip. They get everything ready. They got all their stuff from their cars. They're ready to go. They live in this boat for weeks at a time. And some even live on months, but they're going out for a couple weeks. They're getting out there. And it's horribly windy and the seas are really roaring. They're, a couple like 50 to 100 miles now at the point off the coast. Hey, I don't know if we should continue this, Joseph said to Marvin, and Marvin replied and said, hey, I still feel pretty good. We've been out in storms before. I think we'll be fine. No issues here. Let's just keep going and push through it. We have nothing to lose. And Joseph's like, what's going on with him? He's thinking to himself, I gotta talk to the other crew about this. He just seems really off, not seeing that there's this huge storm approaching us, and considering we're going into it more. He talks to the other crew members like, hey, what's going on with Marvin? And they're all like, I don't know, we're feeling the same way. Something seems really weird. Our captain's being really strange, and they're all friends. So for them to even say that, they're kind of all going up against Marvin now. Just really strange thing going on. The whole way the story is going, it just seems something so off. Something so off with Marvin. They don't know really what to do. They're going into this storm. The waves are getting worse. Like, hey, you know what? We have to talk to you, Captain. These are all friends, remember? And he's like, what do you want? We're clearly good amounts of fish here and crab like we needed to, and we're even getting some lobster nets. And the crew's like, hey, we need to turn around. Enough about the money. Our lives can be at risk here. We really need to start taking this more serious. This isn't going like it should be for us. We should be seeing less of the storm and more of the coastline. We need to get out of here. And Marlin's like, nah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. And they're like, okay, whatever. They all talked down in their bunks, once the end of the day came. They were all tired. Marvin stayed up there and just was thinking about everything they're saying to him and really unsettled. Something was really bothering him at this point. He was like, you know what? I think the crew's right. We're going to turn around now. So he goes and talks to the crew. And he's like, hey, guys, we're going to turn around. You made a good point. It's not always about the money. It's about our lives. We should just leave another couple days later. We'll go back to the coastline and we'll come back out once the storm passes. So that's what they end up doing. He's going up. And as he's going up, there's a leak he could see in the side, or the stairs go up. And water's rushing in. And he's like, hold on, what's going on here? We checked the ship multiple times before we left. He's telling the crew, hey, we have water coming in. We need to take care of this now. And the other crew are just like, oh, what is going on here? And all the crew are thinking it's him. He did it. As Marvin's going up the stairs, the crew is like, hey, help us patch this hole. You can weld. You're the only one on here that can actually weld. And at this point, he has one of his friends go and mans the boat, gets it to turn around as the storm is getting worse in the seas. So he ends up patching the boat, but it's almost too late. There's enough water in there. It's about a quarter of the way full now, where it's starting to cause issues, especially with the storm. So they get the boat turned around, but just as they do, this huge wave comes in and actually, I want to say capsizes the boat, but it gets on side enough where it's taking water into where it gets into the lower balconies and the lower areas of the ship, and it starts flooding it even more. Now we're about 50% capacity of water at this point. They all make their way up to the upper deck. They're just completely terrified of what's going on. They're like, if we would have just turned around, we would never had this issue. Now we have to deal with this. We're taking on this water, and we have nothing we can do. We can't get rid of the water. We just called the Coast Guard. They're manning the ship, and they don't see the Coast Guard anywhere. Like, hey, this water's really treacherous. We're trying to get out to you, but it's going to be some time. So hang in there. It's turned into a really bad storm. They're making their way back. Marvin at this point is just completely upset with himself. He's like, what did I get us into? This should have never happened. This was stupid of me. I should have never did this. It's a complete mess. So they're getting their way back. They're just all talking to each other and just like, hey, we took in a lot of water. We were able to seal off some of the compartments downstairs, but it won't hold for long. And they're still taking on water. Just as they've lost hope, they're like, a couple hours go by, and this storm is really going crazy at this point. This is a massive fishing ship, but it's completely killing them. They're like, this is horrible. This is not what needs to be happening right now. The Coast Guard actually comes in their helicopter. They just get there in time because just as they did, this huge wave just crashed through the ship. It starts going over. They're having to get on the side of the ship. Thankfully, they all did. But the amount of energy and just the restraint the crew had to have against Marvin was intense. It was immense. I'm so mad at him for what he did, for not turning around and dealing with this whole situation. That should have never happened in the first place. They get on the side of the ship. The Coast Guard lowers that little thing down, that stretcher thing. They all get inside of it and hey, we're lucky we made it out of here. The Coast Guard are saying, what on earth were you guys doing out here? This is one of the worst storms of the season. And the whole crew is just looking at Marvin. And they're like, we know. And he's just like, I'm sorry, guys. Greed just got the best of me in this situation. I should have never had this happen. I'm going to be stepping down. One of you guys need to take up the reins of being the captain because I clearly lost my head there. I made some really poor decisions and we lost our boat because of it. Luckily, they have insurance, but the moral of the story is don't get too greedy with things. Stay on guard at all times, no matter what the risk might be. You sometimes have to take some losses. So they get back to shore safely. They all meet their families. Thankfully, they're okay. But it was an absolute nightmare for this crew that they had to go through this. And Marvin put them through this. They put them through their paces, and they should have never had to. So I hope all of you enjoyed this one. Please leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.